Under listening post, the historical spotlight, we have Susan Benjamin from Klein Creek Farm. Susan, would you take the podium? Usually Trustee Geezer does this, but everybody knows the Bears are playing tonight, and I guess he's doing something with WGN or wherever he's at tonight. So
Yes, and I want to say thank you to my husband for being here with me tonight and not at the Bears game. Yes, my name is Sue Benjamin. I have been a resident of Carroll Stream for 26 years, just a mere fraction of the time Illinois has been a state as we celebrate this bicentennial this year. Illinois has deep roots in rural and farm life. Although this farm life is rapidly disappearing, there is a place that celebrates this time gone by, which is Klein Creek Farm. It is a living history museum representing the 1890s, and as you might guess from my attire, I am a volunteer at this wonderful place. I would like to give you a bit of history about the Klein's life during the time period and the farm that we actually treasure. Casper and Louisa Klein were German immigrants who settled in New York State. In 1835, the couple and their 4 children moved west to homestead in the fertile land of Illinois. Casper purchased 40 acres and built a log cabin on the DuPage River. Their 5th child, Frank, was born in Illinois. In 1845, Casper Klein purchased an additional 80 acres. DuPage County at that point had a population of 3,535 people and 960 farms. In 1872, a gentleman named Aaron Montgomery started a mail order business. You might remember it as being Montgomery Wards. This was truly life-changing for rural families to get goods from all over the world to their local areas by train and wagon. As we explained to our visitors today, mail order. Mail order was the internet of the day. In 1887, Casper Klein died, and his younger son Frank inherited what had grown to be a 200-acre family farm. This is the time period interpreted now by Klein Creek Farm. Corn, oats, and wheat would have been the primary crops. The fields would have been planted, cultivated, and harvested using horse-powered machinery such as plows, seed planters, cultivators, manure spreaders, threshers, corn binders, etc. Horse-powered is just that, teams of 2, 3, or 4 2,000-pound each Percheron draft horses, imported from France in the 1870s, becoming the workhorse of choice for farmers all across the country. It was common for a family to have an orchard of 80 to 100 trees. According to one census, when trees were counted along with people, the Klein family boasted 200 fruit trees, types not recorded. Apple trees would have been the most popular due to the many uses, baking, ciders, and vinegars. Regarding livestock, from the records of DuPage County, DuPage County was a big dairy area, but there were many farms raising beef cattle as well. Shorthorn was a popular all-purpose breed, providing both milk and meat. Merino sheep were brought from Vermont in the 1840s and flourished due to their beautiful wool. Southdown sheep were also popular, but preferred more for their meat. Most farms would raise pigs as well. Various breeds of chickens, geese, ducks, and turkeys would have been a staple on all farms for the purpose of meat, eggs, and feathers. If needing to preserve, meats were smoked. The original smokehouse, built in the 1830s by Casper Klein, is still present on our farm. Kitchen or yard gardens were a must-have intended by the women and children of the family. A family of 4 would have a 1-acre-sized garden to sustain the family for a year. Fresh fruits and vegetables during the growing season, canned and cellared for the winter months. 5 meals a day were eaten, adults consuming an average of 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day. Compare that with our 1,800 to 2,000. However, people were leaner and fairly conditioned due to their constant hard work and activity. Noon dinner was the largest meal of the day, lunch was the name of the mid-afternoon snack, and supper might be a hash or leftovers from a previous meal. Wood-burning cook stoves in the kitchen would have been common and first lit by 5 to 4 a.m. for meal preparation and coals banked before bed. Parlor stoves would have been found in other rooms to provide heat only during cold fall and winter days. Temperatures during the coldest winter months would fall to 32 degrees at night in the house. Burr. But winter would have been a somewhat pleasant season on the farm, primarily because field farming chores were over. Animals would still need to be cared for, but there would have been more time for parties, dances, festivities with family and friends. Christmas would have been a lively celebration with lighted trees in the homes or in town squares, using candles, of course. Gifts would be clothing, fruit, store-bought candies, small toys, and accessories. During the fall and winter, the absence of light would be an issue. Kerosene lamps, giving off only 6 watts each, would be the light of choice, replacing candles due to the access to oil and safety. But think of this, a room with 6 lamps burning bright would not have even had the light of a 40-watt bulb today. Very dark indeed. Standardized time zones were not established until 1883, only due to the need to standardize railroad schedules throughout the country. Up until then, cities, villages, and towns set their clocks by the sun. For example, noon would occur at a different time of day in Wheaton than in our own town of Gretna, based on the position of the sun. It's difficult to imagine setting up a time for lunch. In 1889, Frank and Anna constructed a Victorian-style farmhouse, which is one of the 3 original surviving structures you can see today. It was a 2-story, 5-bedroom home and considered quite grand for its day. Other rooms included a kitchen, dining room, sitting room, and parlor. There was only cold running water in the kitchen, provided by the pump. No indoor plumbing or electricity existed. Water for bathing and laundry would have been heated on the wood-burning stove. In 1899, John Klein, the eldest son, died. While Frank had inherited the family farm, John had pursued a life of business and politics. He served twice as county sheriff and 1 term as road commissioner. During his political career, he changed the spelling of his last name from Kline to the more German Klein as a way to garner the German voting bloc. To honor this very successful and respected man, the creek that ran through the family farm was named after John, but using the Klein version. Population of DuPage County at this point continued to rise to 28,196, but farms had slowed to growth to 1,704. Although the Columbian Exposition of 1893 held in Chicago would showcase the grand use of electricity, it would be another 34 years before electrical service reached this part of DuPage County in 1927. In 1930, Frank died. His son Joe and Joe's wife Annie continued to live in the farmhouse with their growing family. Their youngest son had been born in 1921. He was named after the patriarch of the family, John Casper Klein, and continued the family farm enterprise into the 1960s. He would play a vital role in the establishment of the living history farm we know today as Klein Creek Farm. Annie Klein, the last family member to live in the farmhouse, did die in 1975. In 1989, Klein Creek opened to the public as a living history museum under the guidance of the Forest Preserve of DuPage County. John Casper Klein, the great-grandson of Patriarch Casper Klein, died at the age of 86 in 2007. And we take from his obituary, on his last visit, he was enchanted by the children wandering around his barns. He loved the farm. In honor of Mr. Klein, all the clocks at Klein Creek Farm were stopped to signify his time of death. They also draped the mirrors in the farmhouse and hung a funeral wreath on the farmhouse door, a mourning tradition in the 1890s. In 2012, DuPage County reported a population of 927,997. Sadly, only 74 farms remained. DuPage County is rich in history, education, and heritage, all of which is alive at Klein Creek Farm. We continue to interpret, preserve, and educate about a way of life. It provides a connection to our past and the men and women who brought their talents, their strength, and their courage to Illinois. We help visitors experience the stories of a Northern Illinois farm family of the 1890s. By recreating and interpreting an authentic family farmstead and encouraging active participation in the annual cycle of farming, we connect our visitors to the lives of farmers past and present. We encourage all to visit us, and often. Let me close in thanking you for inviting me to speak during this bicentennial celebration of our great state. It was my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere yet. Any questions? Any questions? Questions?
How long have you been volunteering at Klein?
I started in 2014 in November. Yeah, I
I've been
love
there a
it.
few times. It's wonderful.
Yes.
How everything is run. And
Thank you, thank you. We've got good leadership and just a great group of volunteers.
what you got coming up?
We'll have our corn harvest days coming up in October, so please come by and see us. We've also got a new milking cow. We're actually converting from shorthorn meat to shorthorn dairy. And we'll be come and see Liberty the cow and her calf, and we'll soon be interpreting more of a dairy program at Klein Creek Farm, which we think the Kleins actually were more dairy farmers, so it would be really more appropriate to be interpreting dairy versus meat.
There are brochures available about Klein Creek Farm?
Tonight?
No.
Oh, actually, at Klein Creek, yeah, there's lots of brochures. Also go on our website, check out all the events. We do a lot of different things. We'll have our Christmas on the Farm event coming up in December. We also have lamplight tours. For those of you who are very curious about how dark it is in the house, and it really is, I think it's at 4 o'clock on every Monday and Thursday and Friday evening, we'll be doing lamplight tours. All the houses lit by lamp, and you'll see exactly what it would have been like to have been there with no electricity. I love it when I do tours for children, and we talk about the absence of electricity, which they cannot fathom, of course, and they think about turning on and off lights. And frankly, if we all think about it, that is quite the miracle, to be able to simply flick a switch and you get beautiful light, because it wasn't that way up until 1927 at that farm. And even further, as you go into southern Illinois, they were not getting electricity until maybe the 1940s. So it's kind of a miracle that we have this great, electric, and then all the things that are powered by it. So it's, we kind of talk about that with the kids, because they love their iPads and their iPods and all of that, so.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Well, I want to thank you for
Thank
coming in.
you.
Thank you for the job you did Saturday. It was very nice. I wish I could have spent more time out there, but
Yeah, well, we appreciate all of your support, always. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. All right, take care.